Certified Unscripted. Welcome, everyone. I'm Vera Jones, and welcome to another Tuesday night when we discuss all things hoops and a whole lot more, part of which we just figure out we want to talk about. The other half, you shove those questions right down our throat, and we try to get to as many as we possibly can. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Our Certified Unscripted channels. Remember, you can always visit us at www.certifiedunscripted.com. Well, I missed last week because I was at a speaking engagement, and I know I missed a great one. I missed Janice Lawrence, and it killed me. It hurt me to the core that I wasn't able to be on for that. But we have another great guest that I am happy to be here for, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit. First things first. Happy birthday. Yes, Ron Charles, you read my mind. The very first thing I wanted to say was a happy birthday. Happy 32nd birthday to Brittany Griner. We continue to pray for Brittany Griner, still stuck in a Russian prison, still a prisoner really of a menacing political game by Russia that our administration still has not quite figured out how to get her out, but I am at least, I don't know if I'm actually encouraged. I'm going to try to remain encouraged, and I hope that you will too, to remain encouraged that our administration will figure this out and make the right moves to get her out of there as soon as possible. But happy birthday, Brittany. We love you. We're thinking about you. We're praying for you. I also wanted to bring up before we jumped in, because I know we have so many things to do. I wanted to say it's October and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And it's so important that we continue to be mindful. I'm reminded of the Syracuse player, Tiana. What was Tiana's last name that I could never pronounce? Manga Kahia, I think it was. Breast cancer, came back to Syracuse and played breast cancer only at 21, maybe 22 years of age. We recently just had a death with Tiana Jackson. I'm sorry. Oh, shoot. Now I just had a total brain freeze. I'm thinking of Tasha Butts, who was diagnosed in December. She was the associate head coach at Georgia Tech, and I'm still praying for her. So there's so many people. I probably can go on and on. This is the one problem with being unscripted. An old host, and I forget. But the main thing I want to say is please keep those people that are battling breast cancer in your prayers. And then the other thing I wanted to do is make sure that, well, before I do this, because this is cause for a celebration, nothing sad, I have to bring on the GM herself. It's been so long since I've even had you on. Penny Toller is in the house. Penny, where are you tonight? PT from DC. How you
I know. I'm coming live from home today. And Vera, yeah, I miss you, girl. It's funny because you on when I was busy, and I was like, I called you. I said, hey, is my girl Vera gonna be on? But I know you've been doing big things and great things. I've been watching you on Facebook and Instagram, following you. Yeah. So, congratulations on everything you've been doing. And then, like you said, I'm glad you brought up that it is Breast Health Awareness Month, because Tiffany Jackson, unfortunately, who just passed, played for the Sparks. As a GM, I can honestly tell you it was a privilege to, be her general manager, because she was always polite, always kind, always had something good to say about everybody. And this is why it's so important that this month to continue to bring awareness, because like you said, Tasha Butts, and then there's Nikki McCrae as well.
Who's been battling for a long time.
It's
we had Burnell Hooker, actually, who was just on the show 3 weeks ago, I think, who's battling again. And so, prayers out to Burnell and her family as well. She was just on the show. We had Edna Campbell.
Edna Campbell on, Bounce Back. And then unfortunately, I have a really good friend now where his wife, she's gone through a lot. And then before I forget too, I definitely want to say, happy birthday to Brittany. It's actually Johnny Buss's birthday today too, as well.
Okay.
So my God, but definitely want to say, hopefully everybody out there, please don't forget about Brittany, because people think out of sight, out of mind. And, even if she ever gets a chance to read or see anything on Instagram or social media, she'll know that she's still in our hearts. And there's a lot of people still pulling for her. And, hopefully she could get a early Thanksgiving present or a Christmas present, and we can hear one day she's on her way home.
Yes, absolutely. Happy birthday. Thanks, Ron, for that. Actually didn't need that reminder, but still glad that you're thinking about it too. It's just every time I see those pictures on social media, I'm just jacked up. I just see her behind, those prison bars, and just she looks so sad, and just anyway, it eats me alive. And it's not to harp on the negativity. It's actually to accentuate some of the positive, because it has been women's basketball, particularly the WNBA, that has been at the forefront of a lot of important things, like, Brittany Griner in this situation, like the whole pink. If you think about women's basketball and the Play for K and all of the different pink games and events that go on around breast cancer. And so, women's basketball, thumbs up, because we do a lot of good in the community and in this world for bringing light to social changes and things like that. So I wanted to make sure I said those things. And what I brought you on to tell you, a couple of pieces of good news before we get to our big guest, which is even greater news. Somebody's having a baby. It ain't me. I'm all too. Somebody's having a baby. Her name is Skylar Diggins, having baby number 2 at the age of 32. So yeah, what do you think about that? I just think that's incredible. I'll never forget when Niele Ivey had a baby and 3 months later was back in the gym balling, right? Balling for the Indiana Fever. 3 months later, I was 900 pounds. Eating cookie, whatever I could find. Believe me, that is quite the feat to come back that soon. So congratulations to Skylar Diggins.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for Skylar. And then I forget that wasn't Niele Ivey who had I forget who it was that had triplets.
Recently.
One of them had triplets that played for Indiana.
That was Helen.
Yeah, Helen Darling. Helen Darling. Yeah, who had the triplets. Yeah. And then, I'm happy for Skylar. I was able to experience Candace's birth of Layla. Obviously I went through it with Lisa. Lisa, you couldn't even tell was pregnant until she turned to the side, because it was all in her stomach. Like if you saw her from behind, you wouldn't know she was pregnant. I'm happy for Skylar. It was funny because when she made the announcement, I was on Twitter, and I guess, some people were upset. Some was saying, oh, that's the reason why she left, the team. Why didn't she just say so? Where sometimes, people might want to keep it a secret until, you're further along. But I'm super happy for Skylar. I'm super happy for her.
Erica Mitchell made a good point. So Niele Ivey's son, who was in her belly when she was playing 20 plus years ago for the Indiana Fever, is now balling for the Pistons. You're absolutely right. So it's just, there's a lot to basketball, but basketball is life, right? It's life, and it's actually bringing life into the universe. So it's kind of beautiful for that.
That's what we got to give us. That's what we got to give a shout out to the league, and finally having, because before when you got pregnant, you only going to get 50% of your salary, where now you get your whole salary. And then while we saying congratulations to Skylar, hey, let's not forget about Dearica Hamby, down in Vegas. So we have good one, Tay Anderson. Dearica Hamby is pregnant with her second baby as well. So we got some WNBA babies running around here.
Yeah, absolutely. Couple of quick notes on the basketball tip. Congratulations to the NBA. They're tipping off tonight, right? I think we've got a couple of games on.
I think the Lakers playing the Golden State Warriors. Yeah,
that's right. Golden State. Yep. So it should be good. And then in the WNBA lottery was just announced. The Indiana Fever, who went 11-57 over the last 2 years, they will get 442 chances out of 1,000. Atlanta has better than a 1 in 4 odds. They're getting about 276 chances out of 1,000. And then you got the Washington Mystics third, and the Minnesota Lynx in terms of those four for the number 1 pick in the draft. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I tell you what, this is a funny story. I ain't gonna never forget. I remember the Sparks when we got NECA, and we had like the 4th least amount out of the 5 to get the number 1 pick. It was so funny because you usually get on the call, because usually one or two come up with the number one ball. And I remember I was over in my office, but we had it on in the conference room. And I remember hearing everybody scream because I'm like, it's no way we're getting this ball because we had the least amount of chance out of the 4 teams that were in the lottery. And our ball came up number one when we got NECA. And when I heard everybody screaming, when I heard everybody screaming from next door, they go, yeah, we got the number one pick. I'm like, oh, okay, let's go get that, And it was so funny because that year we got NECA, Deladon was eligible to come out. She didn't come out. Brittany Griner was eligible to come out. She didn't come out. So, it's always fun around, lottery time, I hope Indiana can get that pick because they need it. I hope they can get it.
Go back because that's juicy. Would you have taken Brittany Griner or Deladon or NECA? Had they come out?
I don't think you look a bad fruit in the mouth. So of course I'm gonna say NECA McKay, NECA helped us win a championship. NECA's a great player. Was happy with her. I don't think you could have went wrong with either one. You know what I'm saying? But it was interesting because that year, I don't know if it was a Morky or whoever, because the Wooden Award is literally 2 blocks from my house. And I know Baylor didn't let Brittany, speaking of Brittany Griner, I know Baylor didn't let Brittany Griner come and get that award that year, But no, we were more than happy with NECA. NECA turned out to be a great player. And, and matter of fact, all of them got a championship now, too. I think they all won championships, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. So good players. On the right team, with the right coaching, the right mindset, win championships. Speaking of champions, I love a good segue. We got one on here. She's a 1991 Hall of Fame inductee, and this is where we're going to get into our argument at at what once old heads called Northeast Louisiana. It is now currently called the University of Louisiana Monroe. She played from 82 to 86, got a 1983 gold at the Pan Am Games, also FIBA silver in 1983. They were formerly the Lady Indians. They're now the Warhawks because you can't say that anymore, right? This is a player that just flat out was balling. And if anybody knows, PT from DC knows best. Literally could play positions 1 through 5, went and balled out overseas. And now she's here with us tonight. Please welcome Lisa Ingram. How are you?
Benny.
How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me. Really an honor to be among you guys.
We were going to get cussed out if we didn't. Everybody's been asking.
For sure.
We got people already in the chat have questions, right? So I'm so glad I'm not handling the questions anymore. Because I used to get dogged. I'm not handling questions. Dog Rita now. Okay. So there's questions popping up for you, but I always like to start with who put that ball in your hand? Tell us the story. How did you get started, Lisa, on your great adventure of becoming the player you were?
Well, actually, it started in middle school. I was in love with volleyball, and my brother Jeffrey. He actually, we went to the same middle school, and it was about 1.5 miles from where I live. And we had to walk it, and he had a bike. So one day he told me, he said, listen, you're the biggest thing in the school. What you mean you don't want to play basketball? I like volleyball.
How tall were you?
I was 6 feet in middle school.
Okay, in middle school?
I loved it because I like volleyball because the net was so high, and I was able to hit down on them girls. I was a star. I felt good about that. I had a really good actually my PE teacher, my volleyball coach. Okay. And from there, one day he told me, if you don't try out, you're not riding on them handlebars. So I said, all right, then, listen, I guess I'm about to go try out because I need a ride home. That's too long. So I tried out.
And straight country on us.
I tried out and I made the I made the team, of course, my height, and I wasn't as skillful, but I was always like they used to call me a tomboy. I played all sports, so I had to have the hands. I had the hands and the catching and all that. So I kind of put it together once I got out there on the court. And being that tall, in middle school, it wasn't nobody 6 feet. So at that time, I just progressed my game with after that found out that I fell in love with it my 7th grade year when we started winning championships at Lauderdale Middle School. And then my 8th grade year, I got pretty good. And after that, that was by the grace of God, because at first I didn't love it. He just kind of said, "Yeah, you 6 feet, and I got something on your life. You're gonna play basketball."
Okay.
So I let him lead me in that way. And at Lauderdale, my 8th grade year, I was like the top 8th grade player. And from there, in high school, we have a school called Dillon High School. They're one of the dominant high school here in Broward County, Fort Lauderdale. And I grew up in Westwood Park, is a neighborhood, suburbs, a neighborhood. And the school, that Dillon High School, was about a mile and a half. But the school, one of my coaches that came to get me, she was actually at Coral Spring High School. It was predominantly white, 5% black. And, I had to ask my mom, could I go? So she kind of recruited me. And at that time, you just couldn't go to any school. You had to have an address.
Right.
So,
it's still like that.
That's right.
Supposedly.
So she found an address and started off from there. And I ended up over at Coral Spring High School. And from there, my freshman year, we won states. I probably went to 6-1. We won states my freshman year.
Wow.
And went on to play against the dominant high school here. Dillon High School is the top. You got a lot of stars came out of there. They was really balling. And I set the record on them. Had my 9th grade year, I had 52 against them. Here. And from there, it was 54. Okay, all right.
Okay, no, that's 54. Sounds
man, hype baller hoop be knowing everything. Okay?
I know hype baller hoop. I like just sit at home, just looking at basketball.
They actually, I was real happy with that, and I always liked the underdog team. I always liked to play the underdog because we had so many stars among the county. I just wanted to be different, so I ended up at Coral Spring High School. But from there, I started off a little bit where I was playing high school ball. I went on to play with a coach that came down to get me from Orlando, AAU. And guess who was on the team, Penny? Me and Teresa Edwards.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
Nasty AAU.
So y'all didn't lose the game, right?
He had a van. He come get me. From there, actually, he was a school teacher. And he came pick me up from Fort Lauderdale. Had to go to Decatur to get tea. And I'm going to tell you, we drove all over the country. AAU killing Michigan everywhere. And nobody could stop. She was the guard and I was the post.
UNT? Oh my God.
Killer. And then from there, of course, I came out after that. I actually came out 82 and I was made the all-star team. So we had to go to the Culture Club in New York. They flew me to New York to play among, the best. At that time, Patrick Ewing, all those guys, they was up there too, because that's where they did the all-star team. The all-star games had to be up there. It was my first time leaving home, and yeah.
How did you end up at Northeast Louisiana? I mean, but back to the point real quick, though. I know that was a scary team, you and Teresa.
Yeah. That's the A team we had for years, and we got better and better as we went on. Yep.
And how did you pick Northeast Louisiana? I'm just curious.
Well, the AAU team. At that time, I had one of my assistant coach was on that team, Coach Macias. She was the coach at the time, and Ken Patrick. I played on a team that we used to have a team called. He used to have a team. We do international tournaments that come in. We invite teams from Europe to come in to play against our AAU team. We have it's called the Florida International Tournament, AAU. And they used to come from all over, Korea, all over. And we used to play against them in a tournament, a national tournament here. Teams come from all over. And at that time, Northeast, at that time, I went on all my visits. I took all my visits. I went to.
Where'd you go?
I went to Alabama. I visited Alabama, Florida. I went to Houston, West Virginia. All those visits, I visit all the schools, and from there, one of my coaches got the job at Northeast. My AAU coach, Coach Macias, got the job at Northeast, and I decided, and my mom got an opportunity to visit, and I decided to go to Northeast Louisiana University.
Yeah, y'all were tough too, man. I saw somebody put in here, Mike Who Page, because you played, and it's true what he's saying. I remember when I first saw you guys. I think we played against you guys when I was at San Diego State my freshman year.
Yep.
And that's the first glance I got at Jung Lee.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the only point guard that can leave her feet and you couldn't take charge on her because she don't move, move her body all the way.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean your team was so good. You know what I'm saying? How did you get your handles though? Because like back in the day, they would always make big people just, not like overseas, they teach big people how to handle the ball. But over here, you know how they be like, okay, you got the height, just put you up under the baskets. Because for the people who never saw you play, what a shame. Because I'm going to tell you, like I said last week, my girl had the handles, shoot the three. You think she coming in, she be done pulled up a three. And then, Earl of Pearl, for y'all out there who knew Earl of Pearl played at Syracuse and played in New York, he had nothing on Lisa passes. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
How did you get the handles though?
Yeah,
I just always thought about weapons because when I was in high school, and at the time I was at Coral Spring High School, I knew I had a pretty decent point guard at that time. I had a pretty decent point guard, but then after that, she left. So it's pretty much somebody got to bring the ball down. I'm like, I can't just be the post. I said, somebody got to bring the ball down. So I decided, let me have my handle so I can bring it down and then throw it to one person to give back to me. And I'm going
You crazy. At least you honest. You say,
give and go. Right.
Well, I'm gonna throw it and I'm gonna cut. Get it back to me, huh?
I worked on that and just worked on, I just worked on it, Penny, and at the time, I used to go to the playground and just work on just shooting and just other skills, and I played against a lot of boys when I was in, actually when I was in high school, I used to actually, when I was in high school, I had to, I was playing boys to get better because I knew you might be honest with you. I thought at least I'd be about 6'4", 6'5". I got to 6'3". I stopped. I was like, God, now all these girls. I said, I had to develop a lot of skills to be able to make this thing work. So
all right. So I want to go back before we start jumping in because there's a lot of questions. I know they're going to ask who are your top 5 players. They're going to ask you about who do you love in the league right now, and some of that. I want to get to some of that, but before we do that, in your history, I'm told you had you're balling and youarethebomb.com, and in '83 you go to Pan Am and you get FIBA. You get silver in the FIBA, gold in the Pan Am games. And then the Olympics come in '84. And then what happens?
Yeah. All right. Well, I go on to make the Pan America team. I play on the Pan America team in '83. At the time, we're training at Colorado Springs Training Center. And I go now, here we go for the Olympic team.
Yeah.
And because actually, like Janice mentioned it, just her interview was amazing. Everything she said, she nailed it. Pat Head Summit was my coach. Me and Cheryl Miller was the only 18 years on the team. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we went in for an interview with Pat. I'm 18 years old, and at the time, my mom battling cancer. And I'm just happy to be out here playing ball. I just want to play ball.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I all know to do. When I'm out here. Pat had Summit, my coach, and we all know she won the 10. She won the 10, and she's a tough cookie. And you know me, I'm a little laid back player, like Penny mentioned. You look at me, you be like, man, what's she come to do? Because I'm just laid back like that.
Yeah.
But, I have a set. My mind set differently than everybody else when I come to the courts. So she took me in the meeting and she said to me, she was like, "Are you ready for this?" I say, "I'm ready as I'm gonna be. I'm ready." I mean, I know at the time we was training there, she was very strict on us, and I had a way with, like Janice said, when I ain't running all these lines. One time, she had us run Penny. I had to ran out the door, and
Mary Ann Stanley ran me with 32 suicides one time too. I'm like,
so the girls like, "We're gonna run with Lisa Ingram. We're gonna run with Lisa Ingram," because I got a little sense of humor about myself. So the last suicide, we running. So I just saw the girls they fell on the floor. So she really actually got mad with them. Like, what is going to say? Y'all gonna run it with her? So I ran my last suicide, but that was a little joke with Pat. But after that, we talked about it, being on the Olympic team and everything. And I'm a baby. I'm 18 years old. I mean, my mom is battling breast cancer. We had a phone in the hall, we couldn't use. Right. I had to go there trying to use the phone to talk to my mom and hear my mom. Wow. And I was already battling. I'm like, man, this is crazy. What she want me to do? Yeah. And then when I found out that, I knew at the time, honest, straight is unstripped, I'm fit to give it. She didn't have nobody that could have been on that team. Pan America team was the Olympic team. So I'm looking at what player you're going to add.
Yeah, usually that is it.
What players you're going to, that's the Olympic team. So why would you move me? So at the time, and then back then, of course, that was recruiting time, what schools you're going to go to. And of course,
okay.
Tennessee, so that was it. And, a lot of people ask me, how did that, and, how did it impact your life? It didn't impact my life. I just thought just being fair, that would have been the right way to do it. And she knew that was Olympic team. And I'm Cindy Noble. She took Cindy Noble over me. Mm-hmm. And took Cindy Noble over me and Cindy Noble. And honestly speaking, Penny, Cindy Noble couldn't touch me.
All right.
Well, to be honest with you, some people gonna be mad at me because I don't remember her in quotation marks, but I do remember Lisa Ingram. I ain't trying to offend nobody, but and when I look at your game and like you say, laid back, because you always got swag. I mean, look at you now. You still got your swag. You know what I'm saying?
Still look like she about to go.
That's what I'm saying. She still got her swag, and you're right. You always been funny. It's hard to see somebody being better than you, and I'm like, I mean, look at the career you went on to have.
Yeah. I'm looking at Hoop Scoop had talked about Joyce Walker, Medina Dixon, L.A. Pollard, all didn't make it. And the question was, do you think it was politics, Lisa?
That didn't make it, you said, right?
Yeah.
They didn't make the team. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Absolutely.
LaTanya, they ain't LaTanya Pollard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And LaTanya as well as
LaTanya made the team.
No, she didn't.
She did?
She didn't make it. No, she didn't make the Olympic team. Remember, she won the Wade her last year. She was Wade Trophy winner.
Yeah, I know. Oh man, I forgot. Tanya.
That's the best player in college basketball. Remember?
Hey, listen, I know that's touching right there. I thought George Walker. I remember all. Yep.
Yeah. She's looking at it. Go, yep. They ain't make it.
That girl with nothing but the truth.
And I want to say to Joshua Cox, who was on here. No, I know they said you were more like Lamar Odom, but I want to correct them. No, you were more like Kevin Durant. Okay. Lamar was good, but he ain't no Durant. No, I just want to say Joshua. Lisa was more like Kevin Durant that could do it all. You know what I'm saying? Lamar is good, but Kevin Durant could put the team on his back, and that's what Lisa did. Because I remember if it wasn't for these, and I get so excited seeing you guys now because I know when we all were competing against each other, it was always competing against each other. But back in the day, we can't say, "Oh yeah, I love her game," because it's time to compete, right? But I always loved your game because people don't even understand that the league is here because there were so many great players overseas.
Right.
And if they were to get to see, and then we got better because offense shined overseas. Like if you average 30, you probably, you know how it goes. If you lose by 2 points and you had 38, they're gonna say you need to have 40. You know what I'm saying? Not somebody else need to have 2. You know, they gonna say. I remember I said, playing against you overseas, I was like, man, somebody better pull up on Lisa, because you would just pull that thing, and then your passing, your cutting, your basketball IQ was like through the roof. You know what I'm saying? And it was interesting because I remember when everybody used to look at Jennifer Gillum, and they used to be like, oh my God, grandma, you know how they call her grandma, she's balling and all this. I go, Jennifer was good, but I said, you guys, and Vera, you notice I've always said Lisa was the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, Lisa literally played the point overseas too.
Yeah, at 6'3".
I mean, yeah. And there was some battles over there. There was some battles over there, huh, Lisa? There was some legit battles.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Penny. You know what, Kenny? That's a good question. We want to know what was Penny like overseas?
Hey, Penny, listen. I'm gonna say, I always like Penny. I always told Penny, man, Penny, you need to be my point guard. I need a point guard like Penny. I could say,
thanks, Lisa.
I ain't had no real point guard that could handle the ball, because a lot of time, especially overseas, you had Coop. Coop would come down and she go right past them guards in Europe. Then I got to get 3 fouls trying to block it from the other side of the court. I'm like, if I had an American point guard and get over there and just slow it down, I just need somebody to slow it down. Just slow it down. But Penny had ball handlers. What? I think Penny ball handler was. I don't know if it's tough. I don't even point guard. I got to scratch my head right now.
And it was funny. It was funny too, because that's why I say I admire it too. Because I get over here, I'm looking at your game, looking at Janice Lawrence game, after watching you guys, and that's why I be like in awe, because a lot of people, they just know Lisa, they just know Candace, they just know Lauren, but you guys were legit. And to be honest with you, going back in your prime, it wasn't gonna be too many people that can handle y'all.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I think you know that.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it, and I watched, and I've seen, I look back on how we was, and I look at back now how they're playing ball, and it's definitely is a big difference. It's a big difference.
What is the biggest difference that you see in terms, because we talk about this all the time, and we've got a lot of I love the fact that we have a lot of young people in our audience. And they want to know, or tell me about this Cheryl Miller. What was she like? Tell me about, all of these different players.
Cheryl was a good player. She was a good player. Playing with Cheryl, because me and Cheryl came out at the same time, like won the country at the time. So, she was a good player. There's so many players that, I got to say, I got to give it the truth. That Cheryl was a decent player, but there are some much better other players out there that that much better than Cheryl. To me, that's my opinion on that.
Give me one. That's what I say. Like for yourself, and
who comes to mind first?
Well, Tina Hudson comes to my mind because I played with her down in San Diego State. That's sort of like Tina was like Lisa. I'm looking at people that was 6'3" that could do everything. And like I said, when we played against them my freshman year at San Diego State, when I went there, I was like, man, this team, you guys were balling, and you had the point guard to boot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I think both of you guys made All-American that year, didn't you, Lisa?
Yeah. I came out All-American and made All-American that year, both of us,
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, you guys were like, it's funny because I'm sure everybody out there scratching their head now. She said she was a decent player.
I know. I was like, what?
And
I'm like,
I'm honest. Penny, I got to be honest. Cheryl,
that's how she feels.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Cheryl's a decent player. I look at it because, I came from a school didn't have we didn't have a whole bunch of stars.
Yeah, the twins, and
that's what I'm about to say. Y'all ain't had the twins.
So it was a lot on me and Unjung, but I had a couple players, Chris Haley, a couple of my teammates that really showed up. A team like we had, we never thought. You look at that team, you be like, they deep 7 players. How they going to Final Four? What they got? What the crap they got over there? And then you look at us, we just train ourselves, try to stay out of foul trouble. Just hoop, get a breather. You out the game 2 minutes, you going back in. So
didn't Shauna Perry play with you 1 year, Lisa?
Yeah, she played with me 1 year.
Yeah, Shauna was legit too. Vera, you remember Shauna Perry?
Yeah. We went on.
There's so many. What I wish we could do is literally, I talked to Rita about this, and I don't even know how we would do it. It's just to find clips, just do a whole highlight reel of all these players that we're talking about, because it is part of what we do is we try to educate, we try to, bridge the gap between old school that we didn't have social media, we didn't have television coverage, we didn't have a whole bunch of stuff, right? I did find an article from 1985 that was written about you in the Sun Sentinel, though. So we did have newspaper articles, right? We had the USA Today, but we didn't have a whole lot. And it's so hard because we talk about these players with such passion and excitement, but it's some of it is, it's without words, how Lisa Ingram played.
They were ranked number one time, weren't you, Lisa?
I was ranked number one.
Y'all was ranked. They were ranked number one. I remember.
Cheryl Miller was ranked. They had co-ranked us number one.
Yeah,
in the country. So I mean, at that time, she was from Riverside, California. I was from Fort Lauderdale. So I really wanted to set the platform for women's basketball here in South Florida, because they always say we're Florida. Florida, oh, y'all got all the football players. It's not a basketball. They don't really come here. Yeah, so they're like, Lisa Ingram from down in Fort Lauderdale, because half the time they thought I was from Louisiana. They done put me in Georgia. I was like, nah, I'm from Fort Lauderdale. I'm from right here, Fort Lauderdale, raised and born. But yeah,
we're missing a couple of people today from our certified unscripted staff. But before I forget, and this is not a good segue, I just didn't want to forget. We usually have Teresa Weatherspoon on, Lisa, and there was an article that came out about Spoon and Zion Williams, right? And it was very, very heartfelt, heartwarming, and I wanted to get kind of your idea. You talked a lot about playing with the boys and growing up with the boys, and there is, to me, a relationship. We all did the tomboy, play multiple sports, got better because we played with the boys. But now what's really cool about it is we would play with them, but we certainly were never allowed to coach them. And now we have one of our own from Certified Unscripted, Teresa Weatherspoon, who is getting mad props from Zion, saying at some of my toughest times, it was her, out of all my coaches and everybody else, it was her that was there for me. What do you think about, as good as some of these players have been, like yourself and so many more that are forthcoming, having more of an opportunity to coach men as well as women on a higher level? What do you think about that?
Well, I actually started out coaching when I came back from Italy. I started coaching girls high school basketball, and I coached a couple of years, and after that, I retired from it. And actually, now I coach boys basketball. I coach as undefeated elite.
Nice.
I started a business about 2 years ago, right for the pandemic. So now I coach 17U unsigned seniors. It's called Undefeated Recruits. So now I'm actually coaching boys.
So you've got some people on here talking about that's our coach. That's our coach. Is that them?
Yeah, that's probably them. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Shout out, boys. Undefeated. Train you to be the best. Yeah.
So obviously you're very pro this because you do this. Is there a difference? Is there a big difference between coaching girls and coaching boys? Or men and women?
Now, I think now it is. Now it is.
Okay. Why so?
Before it wasn't, because we would want to go to practice. We didn't just say, hey, I got a boyfriend, I quit. You're the best player on the team. Where you going? I need you.
Yeah.
And they would just, when I was coaching high school girls here, they would just gradually, the team, parents, they want to come to practice and, just trying to get them. So with boys, they're excited. Boys excited about coming to practice and about.
Yeah.
And then now with, like you guys said, with all this social media, with AAU and all this, it's big. You got OT, overtime elite, you got OTE, all this big time basketball. Mm-hmm. And actually, I got in the rim of coaching 17 unsigned seniors, and actually, a couple of my players play for Ray Allen team down here in Fort Lauderdale. Mm-hmm. They play for the team. I allowed him to go play with his team sometimes, especially because I travel, but I don't travel as far he goes. Sometimes, I go to Vegas and Atlanta, but he's like all time. His son actually played, so he's always like everywhere. So some of my players, I got a chance to talk with them. Mm-hmm. Allowed to go play with some of his players. Okay. And, so I'm deep in it right now with that. I started about 2 years ago, right before the pandemic, but it's been really a blessing, coaching boys. And I love it. I mean, now I get all these girls about come back and go high school. And I'm like, no, I doubt it.
See, that's what brings me to the question of, like you say, boys being excited and nothing against women, where that's the kind of like the little knock that we got going right now, and it's legit and it's real that boys, when they get ready to go to the NBA or college, they know who they're gonna play against. But it's still a lot of girls coming out of college, even with this social media and your team. And like I say, knock out the stars. They can't name you 3 players on each team. You know what I'm saying? Take away all the stars, and that's the thing that I don't like. Where you come to a team and they be shell shocked when they see everybody just as good, but when a guy going to the pros, he already know who he's going to play against. He's already preparing who he's going to play against. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's more boys that know a lot about the WNBA than women.
Yeah, that's actually more and more. You're seeing a lot of my whole household, all men. Every last one of them watch the WNBA, right? Can tell you more than about it than even I can. Yeah. So, but I think that's awesome. I think that, and has that pretty much been what you've done as coach once you stopped your own playing career? Did you do anything else professionally?
Well, no, that's what I've been doing so far.
Okay.
I've been doing so far.
That's awesome.
Since I've been back from Europe. Okay. This is what I've been doing.
Lisa, you wouldn't want to coach in the league?
Well,
you ever thought about that?
Long pause.
Well, no, you know what? If I had the opportunity, Penny, I'll do it, because I look at my position in the position I played. Mm-hmm. I look at sometimes since they give the opportunity to always males coaching, I see so many males now coaching the women. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, why don't they give us that really have played the game and know the game the opportunity to come back and coach certain position in the women's basketball? And I think it'll be better, because I've seen several, post players that's in the WNBA, and I'm watching them movement. They're big.
Yeah, no foot skills.
Foot skills. And if you're that big and coming from one side to the other side, you have the whole lane. Nobody coming behind you. You're 6'6". 250 or 240 or 230, whatever it is now. But I would love to. If I had the opportunity, Penny, I might consider it. You know
what was interesting when Jim Clemens was with the Lakers up under Phil Jackson? Yeah. It was funny because like the Sparks, when they were on by the Lakers and we would go in, and one day Jim Clemens said to me, he said, "Hey, Penny, I coached in the ABA," which I didn't know, right? I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, how did you like coaching the women, Jim?" And it was funny because he said, all my male counterparts called and they would tease me. But it was funny because you know what he thought, even though I agree with everything you're saying now, but for him being a male and only coaching him, he said, "You know what, Penny? I actually became a better coach." Because, back in our day, you ain't go, we can look at a player, tell they can't go over their right shoulder, their left shoulder. We don't need a coach to tell us that. We're going to pick that apart because we can play and think at the same time. And it was funny because Jim Clemens was like, "Penny, I became a better coach when I coached women at the ABA, which they were the professionals, along with the WBA." He said, "Because now I actually got to see my play work, because women, when they the skills one, have better footwork than men." He said, "So when I came back to the NBA with Phil, they'd be like, 'Coach, this play don't work.' He go, 'Oh, no, it's work, because I done seen it ran to perfection with women, with our footwork and all those things at that level." So it was interesting to hear his perspective, but he was coaching in the ABA. You know what I'm saying? But you're right about it. Nowadays, I look at players, and this is why people will walk up to me when I was a GM. "Well, why you didn't get that person?" I go, "Look, well, first of all, let's start with they 6'2", they playing a 4, they got no handles, and they ain't coming up here. You know what I'm saying? Because now you about to go to a guard. I got guards that are 6'2", they got handles, you know what I'm saying, know how to do a drop step, know how to pivot backwards and take a jump shot, know how to do a fade. And I find in a lot of these college programs, and they can say what they want to say, and because they got a lot of pressure on them, they don't make these players get better. You know what I'm saying? They just take what they do and hammer it in the ground. Because you can still pick who's going to the Final Four in women's basketball, but you notice you can't pick who's going to the Final Four in men's basketball.
That's it. That's it. That's the key.
There's a question for you from Hoop Scoop. In 1997, the WNBA started, and a lot of your peers played in the later stages of their careers. Why didn't you play? You were only 32 years old.
Well, 32, and you've been playing in Italy for all those years. I was 21. Yeah. So I went out one time I went out to Utah Stars. I went out there. They had a workout. And that's how Big Dog was there at the time, Untorn Car. Actually, I stayed at his house. And I went out there and I did pretty good in the workout, but I thought about it. She actually was going to give me opportunity. But I thought about it. I was like, it'll be too tough on my body, because back then I was doing pretty good in Italy. And they was giving like $5,000. I don't know. I don't forget how long. And then I just roommate. I got a house in Italy. This is kind of, I don't know how I'm gonna juggle this. But I don't know.
Money didn't add up because we were making more money overseas.
So I was like, hey, I don't know how I'm gonna juggle it. And then 32, it was tough because trying to play 9 months over there and over here, even though I know Italy had them become my platform where they know I'm solid in my position, I can play it. But it was tough. I went out to have fun, Penny. I had fun. But after that, I thought about
And you know what, too? And I can attest to this, knowing myself, coming in the league. And this is why I say people like, oh, my God, where did Cynthia come from? Are you kidding me? It was an all-star overseas already. It was like a parade of great players, getting with the right team. The thing that when I look back on it was, too, that I think kind of hurt, the players such as myself and players been overseas, where we get back here and college coaches is going to be mad that I'm saying this. You had a lot of college coaches that were coaching teams and couldn't coach vets that knew the game better than them, to be honest with you.
Preaching now.
You know what I'm saying? Because now they get offended because you had a lot of college coaches, and I played up under one at the Sparks. It was like now, you're not coaching 18 and 19-year-olds. Hell, I done been the GM of Elena Beard, I think, who stopped playing when she was 38. So now you got to coach that range here and there. Yeah. And even when I came back, I felt like it was like, no, I don't put a book back on my back and go howdy doody. You know what I'm saying? Like we were overseas and we're already professionals. And if you look at that league, a lot of those coaches didn't stay in the league because they couldn't coach that age gap.
Yeah.
And that's,
what I'm saying? Because that age gap, I mean, look at Lynette, look at Nancy, look at yourself, look at Janice when she came. I mean, he's a player that was smarter than the coach. My second year I had a high school coach and all of us were all Americans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's so true because, it's like, in Europe, you set that platform and over there, but yes, you're the star, but you come over here and those players are still not at your level. They're going to have to try to come along with you. So that's why I see the comment here down at the bottom.
About Cynthia Cooper?
About Cynthia Cooper. Yeah, Cynthia Cooper was a star, but you got to understand.
Got with the right coach. Van Chancellor was smart enough. He was smart enough to not try to put her in a box. But to embrace her skills. And that's the thing I give Van. He didn't try to make Cynthia take a back seat to Cheryl or to anybody else. Well, a lot of these college coaches, not only couldn't coach the players coming back from overseas, they never seen them play themselves.
Never seen them play.
You know what I'm saying? So now you're expecting somebody like they probably was expecting you. Oh, she just stay up under the basket where you used to playing all 5 positions. You know what I'm saying? And then and I'm telling you this because even though Linda Shop, I was right down the street at Long Beach State, but when I came back, I felt like, think about it, at least overseas, you had a lot of freedom. Then all of a sudden, I felt like, I ain't gonna lie to you, when I first got, I was like, oh my God, we got all these racehorses and they trying to put us in the stables versus letting us run. It was interesting playing that college style of basketball. And this is why I felt a lot of players that were overseas didn't come play for those teams, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And it's true, Penny, because at the time, I'm looking at it like coming back here and playing. And yes, she came back and she said she's better than all of these players, because over what those players was trying to do coming out of college first, they was just trying to make the team, trying to make the WNBA team. And then with that experience that she had to come back and play there, we would have been killers. We came back. She came back she didn't wait that long, but then
Cynthia got better overseas. Think about it. Because when she was on that team, think about it, you heard of her, but not like we saw Swoop, and we saw Coop develop. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And that's why when Coop came back, she was her own person. But I got to take my hat off to Van. He was one of the coaches that embraced her being good and embraced like the team he had. Van played a pro style of basketball, and that's why Houston won 4 championships. Wow.
To be honest, your game was similar to hers.
And when I got here, I got locked up. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the thing about your game was similar to hers. Your handles, I think your handles I was amazed by your handles. So with Cynthia, and again, she got better overseas because over there, we all got better because they kind of just laid it out for us to get better. And they try to surround us with the best players for us to be great. But yeah.
I'm like you, because when I got back, one thing, Veer, I just want to say, because I know when I got back here, and I used to love to play overseas and play against Cynthia because, Lisa, I won the scoring title in Italy one time. You know what I'm saying? My thing was, I got back here and it was like regressing, asking a pro player to play college basketball. And if you go back, I'm telling you, if you go back, a lot of those coaches, they weren't coaching after 1 or 2 years in the league.
Yep.
Because they couldn't coach that age gap.
There was I wanted to go back because there was a good question. I've had this question. One of my favorite players, for a while, actually was pop the question back. Do you still have the question that was just on?
Melissa say, Rita, why are you taking the question away?
There it is. About Lynette Woodard. There it is. Danella Burke. Danella wants to know what it was like playing with Lynette Woodard, and why do you think she's overlooked in history? Especially since she was the first player ever to play as a Harlem Globetrotter.
Hey, that was my Clyde Dressler. That's the one I learned how to.
He was just like Clyde.
She was just like Clyde Dressler. I'm gonna tell you, when I got inducted to the Broward County Sports Hall of Fame, they flew her in to induct me in.
Oh, really?
Yes,
that's an honor.
That's my girl. Lynette ain't nothing but the GOAT. I got to give it up. Lynette is the true GOAT.
Yeah, she was long. She was smooth.
She was a good player.
Good person.
Good person. She brought in the team. She always brought the team together when I played on the team with her. Oh my God, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Who was the first person to play in Japan? Was it Lynette or was it Ann Donovan? Because I know
Ann.
Was it Ann? Okay, yeah, I was trying to watch because I know they were right around that same time.
I think it was Ann. I think it was Ann Donovan at that time.
Yeah.
Right. And then
Lynette was a. I remember Lynette way back in Kansas. Lynette was nothing but the truth. It was hard. It was. I used to say sometimes, oh man, she used to escape by people. God, how did you get there? I got another homegirl.
What's amazing is we've had so many good players. Amazing players. Good is not fair on this show. But the most exciting ones are the ones who are not afraid to talk about themselves as the GOAT. They're not afraid to talk about who got on their nerves. They're not afraid, etc. So we've had both Teresa Edwards and Cynthia Cooper on the show. T was like, look, Coop couldn't hang with her. As far as she was concerned, Teresa said she was the GOAT, and she was tired of hearing everything everybody talk about the GOAT.
Lisa, that was a great show. Believe me when I tell you that.
Great show. So now we have an impartial judge. And thank you, Melissa, for stirring up trouble. Thank you. I like that. So we're going to mix it up a little bit and have you say it's on you. You get the final word. Was it Teresa Edwards or Cynthia Cooper?
I got to give it up. T ain't nothing but a GOAT. T's
the GOAT.
T the GOAT. T.
There you go.
Yeah, Teresa was really good. Teresa was really good.
Coop got better, but T wasn't nothing but the GOAT.
Yeah.
It's no question about it.
Enough said.
Teresa was really, really good. And Coop would out rap Teresa though. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Hey, the difference with them two, I'm gonna give you the truth. The difference with them two is T will lock her down. And then she go on.
T played that defense. Yeah. T
played
both sides like Kobe Bryant.
Oh yeah, T. Hey, I tell you, when you get on her, you be scared. And you don't want to defend it because her arm was long, and I don't know if T about 5'11", 6 feet, that tall, that big, that strong. She got that country strong. So Taylor Georgia, what you expect?
And before Diana and Sue Bird just got the 5 Olympics, Teresa was the first player to play in 4 Olympics.
Wow.
Got 4 goals before Sue and Diana. Teresa was like just a killer. Ever since I known her, she was just and you said the key word too, Lisa, because Teresa was like Kobe. Where's the best guard? I'm going to get her. She didn't shy away. She didn't shy away from anybody.
She didn't shy away at all.
So we're gonna put you on the hot seat again. That was very well done, by the way. Thank you very much. And I do say I agree. But Erica Mitchell says, in recent times, it's been a lot of talk about Sue Bird, the girl, Diana Taurasi,
Lisa Monet.
A little bit later before that, it was Lisa Leslie. I mean, there's a whole bunch. There's Candace Parker's in the mix. There's a whole bunch of people. Who's the GOAT? Who's the GOAT today? Today, let's say from 2010 on, last 10 years, who's the GOAT? 2012. Last 10 years.
I haven't watched that Sue Bird a lot. I haven't seen her a lot. But I'm not gonna pick these 2 names here.
Okay. Okay. You got another one? Throw it out there. Who you thinking?
2 years. Yeah, she said it.
Who's that?
I tell you what, Diana Taurasi.
I saw Diana Taurasi play. But I had the opportunity to see some other players that I thought was decent. But you said that you go. Candace Parker is doing her thing, but I watched her in the last game. Candace Parker, I'll give it up for her.
And I'm gonna tell you, it's interesting because, and I know y'all asked Lisa that question, but I'm gonna tell you something. Diana Taurasi, what made her great, because Diana Taurasi had the skills and the mentality of an old school player. And what I mean by that, kill, kill, kill. She's the first one I seen that had that quick jump shot like Steph Curry, even though a lot of people see like Steph Curry. And as good as Maya is, if I'm starting a team, I'm taking Diana Taurasi. And Maya Moore is legit.
Maya Moore, Maya Moore never played long enough to get, what I mean?
But she got a legacy because she's the only player that competed for 8 straight championships.
Yeah.
Maya competed for 8 straight championships and won one every year. And if she didn't stop playing, she probably would have won some more. So
right, and that's why I'm saying probably would have been.
But Diana is a killer, though. And when I say Diana's a killer, and trust me, all y'all about to debate this out there, but I'm gonna throw it out there. Maya and Diana would be like Kobe and LeBron. And what I mean by that, when people start that debate, well, Kobe's a killer. That's why he's called the Black Mamba.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Diana was a killer, and she had that quick release. Diana gonna beat you up and beat you at the same time. That's what I mean, like that old school player. Diana is the truth.
Yeah, I didn't see much of her. I really, a lot of times with that WNBA, I didn't really watch it that much. And I came back because I was like, man, I watched that. I was like,
I know you probably
Did you watch this season? Did you watch this season's WNBA?
I'm sorry.
Did you watch the league this season, the WNBA?
I watched a little bit of it. I watched a little
bit. What did you saw Asia Wilson, obviously, of the Aces, and there's a question from Erica Mitchell.
She tough.
Yeah.
She tough.
And I think that's moving forward. We're probably going to be talking about her a lot more.
Yeah,
another person we had on this show was Dawn Staley. Talk about your thoughts on Dawn and what she's done at South Carolina, what she's done in the Olympics, what she's done for the game of basketball overall.
Well, that's a tremendous. South Carolina, she went there and put them on the map.
Yeah.
And that's that in the South. That's amazing what she's doing over there. I think that
you said
her recruiting, she's doing well with that as well. And players are channeling it from going to Connecticut over to her, and I love that because I ain't no big fan of Connecticut. I'm not a big fan, but I'm not a big fan, and I have my own reasons. Unscripted. Because I felt that let me stay on this subject here, Don Stanley.
Well, you can go off script too, though.
Yeah, she's doing a great job over there. I got a chance to watch Don Stanley way back at Old Dominion when she was there, and
she was at Virginia. Yeah,
Virginia.
Virginia.
Who's at Old Dominion now? Don Stanley in Old Dominion?
No, she played Virginia.
Yeah,
Old Dominion was
Tammy.
Okay, but I really didn't. I thought she was at Old Dominion. I didn't know. Other than her coaching, what she's doing now, I think she's doing a tremendous job, excellent job. And I'm it's so great to see our African American women coaching. I love to see that, and somebody who played the game and know the game. I love that because I see right now you don't have a whole lot of. Hold on a second, my battery's going dead.
Oops.
Well, I'll take it from here with Dawn. I'm gonna tell you, Dawn doing an amazing job too, because to be in South Carolina and get some of these big kids to come from the city and to go south versus, coming to your USC or your Tennessees or your Connecticut, it's something to say about her recruiting skills. And, she definitely got an awesome, amazing coaching staff too with Gillette Law, and I forget the other young lady name. I think it's Lisa White. I might be wrong on the name, but she was in the league too. And Dawn is doing it, opening it up for a lot of other people too.
Yeah.
I see a question here. Okay, a couple of things. Talk about Cheryl Cook, and then there was another question about Linda Harper's system. That's a name I do not know. Can you educate us on who Linda Harper is? And what she meant to you?
Just plug it in. That's why I told you to plug it in. Just plug it into
we
unscripted, you guys. Take your time. We unscripted.
Just plug it in. That's somebody young right there.
I tell you what, though, Vera, while she doing that, not to slip over the subject, but there was a question. She ready? Okay, I was about to ask you something, Vera, but she ready.
Okay.
Or if she's not, what did you think about? There was a question for you. Asked you about the punch. What did you think about the punch?
He just does too much for me. We talking about Draymond.
Yeah, but Pooh said I got punched in the face, but didn't he just get 200 million? No, I'm just joking there.
I don't know. I think Draymond has a lot of antics. It's for me. It's just and then the way that the I don't know. I that's a lot. I don't do drama. Like once I turn 50, And to me, he brings a lot of drama, extra drama to the game. Sometimes I can feel myself at the screen just going, just play. You know, I think he tries to bully people and he's got a temper, a short fuse, and you know, there's a lot of extra with him. So I'm probably not the best person to ask because I'm probably not a fan. Sorry. Yeah.
And then segueing out of that, for all you certified unscripted people, this might be some different people on here who is hating on Alicia Thomas in Connecticut, who they kept saying she played like football. But look how well she did on that national team. They needed her on that national team. I tell you, you can always use an enforcer. And that's why when I was missing those weeks when the national team was playing, I was like, oh man, I need to go in there when, you know, I was saying, hey, you know, she's dancing with the partner she came to the dance with. And look at all the posts she got on the national team.
I was never a hater. She's the kind of player that you do want on your team. Like, she's that kind of player you don't want to play against. That's when you scream, man, she's a football player. She's this, that, and the other. But if I'm going into war, if I'm going into battle, I'd be like, come on, football player.
Well, I told you I would. I told you I would take her.
Come on.
Every team needs an enforcer. Every team needs an enforcer.
Absolutely. That's exactly what she did. So anyway, we were talking about Cheryl Cook. And then the other question was about, I missed the name again. It was Harper. I got Harper's, something about playing in Harper's system.
Well, I'll let her answer that question. Then I want to hear what Lisa got to say about Hoop Scoop's question after that.
Okay. So what about Cheryl Cook, Lisa?
Cheryl Cook. Cheryl was a champ. I think Cheryl played the two guard.
Mm-hmm.
She played the two guard position. She was a tough player. She was a tough player.
Where'd you play with her?
I played on the USA team with Cheryl.
USA team. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then there was another question about something about the Harper system. I'm trying to go back through it.
Well, while you're looking for that question, Hoop Scoop said, Lisa, I have a great question. Do you feel that you overlooked in women's history?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I say that too. Yeah. You know, it's kind of crazy too, because I mean, you were such a phenomenal player, and I kind of feel the same about Shamika Holdsclaw, how people are trying to overlook her great career, you know, just because, you know, she dealt with the mental health things. And I tell people that doesn't take away from her being a spectacular player, you know? Yeah. And I mean, hands down, you were one of the greatest ever. And this league wouldn't be here if all the players overseas wasn't great to show America that you need to have a league here. And that's what people don't get. There's so many names that'll never be mentioned that played overseas, and because it was such great basketball, that's what made the WNBA come into existence, because it was a shame that you had to go outside of the country,
go all the way across,
to play when they was all these players back here. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, you know, for Holdsclaw not to be, and I hate this for Shamika, because, you know, I got to be, you know, really good friends with her. I say with her too, she needs to be in the Hall of Fame, because, you know, just because a person go through something, and this is just that stigma why people don't like to come out when they need help. You know what I'm saying? Because you vilify someone for saying they need help, and it's the same thing you're going through. I think Shamik was going through it now, which is crazy, because clearly she was one of the best players ever to play as well. You know?
Yeah.
Listen, top five though, as far as when you play, who are the best five people you ever played against?
Top of mind. We'll forgive you if you forget somebody, but the first five that come to your mind.
Janice Lawrence.
Yeah.
Hold on, guys. I'm having a little problem here. Okay. Sorry, guys.
Oh, no. Yeah. Handle that. Yeah. Handle that.
Yeah. Janice Lawrence. Oh, man. There's so many great players, man. I can go on and on.
First
Penny,
one.
you one of them? Penny, you one?
Uh-oh, Penny gets some love.
I know I love me some Lisa now. Hey, I know. Hey, I feel you because I know when I got back here, I felt like I was in the cage when I played. You got to have the right coach, okay?
Yep. You was Janice Lawrence. It's so many, Penny.
What about McLean?
McLean was good. McLean was good. Well, it's so many. Oh my God, just top of my head.
Yeah, because Georgia was on fire with their team too.
That I played against so many great players.
Well, Teresa, I know you're gonna say her.
T was good. T, Janice. Like you mentioned. Playing against Janet was tough. Janet used the backboard like nobody else. I'm like, God damn.
Hey, wasn't she like Scotty? That's why when I saw Scottie Pippen, her jumper, you know how Scotty got that off the backboard where he shot? I used to be like, man, that's like watching Janice play because she was so smooth with that,
Yeah. So, it was amazing. Just all those players. I just Penny off the top of my head. It's so many. Lynette Woodard.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Tanya Paula. I played with Tanya Paula overseas. So when I was in Italy, so I played with some great players. Played against them and with them. So she was phenomenal.
How many points do you think you would have averaged, Lisa, if they had the 3-point line back? What do you think your average would have been? About 35?
It would have been tough. I'm coming down having confidence in that jumper. Yeah.
What do you think you would have averaged with that, though? What do you think your average would have been?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I'd have been had by 40, and I'm gonna definitely get some rebounds. I want them boards.
Yeah.
I definitely get no rebounds, so I would definitely been scoring up some points. And
that's what I tell people, because you can rebound and run the floor too. You know what I'm saying? You rebound and you go. Here's the point guard.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. Hey, I told you, Penny. Then it came just where I'm playing centers and where I had to develop a step back because everybody got taller, so I had to shoot over them. So I had to adjust my shot. So I just tried to perfect those things that I thought they're going to make me better and where I could stay overseas longer, because I just tried to keep my name alive out there, and I'd give God the glory because I was able to, Penny, play in almost nine countries,
Yeah.
I finished at 38. So, and it was just a blessing, to be able to last that long. And I told him I was going out like Flintstone. I would never want to stop playing basketball.
And then the crazy thing about it is, your career was sort of like Kobe's. I always say, like what you say when people say you're only 32, but because you did play overseas so long, put in so much knowledge, and unfortunately overseas sometimes we playing on concrete, outside. So throw that in there too. It's almost like playing 2 seasons in one. And then overseas, and then having no help. Because you can go against another American that had 3 Americans or some good foreigners, and you get on the team and they got nobody to help you.
Yeah, like Janice Lawrence. Janice Lawrence. Yeah, Janice won a championship of a chance, but she had the best Italians.
Yeah,
she had the best Italian players, and then after that, we they're gonna. I mean, all those top Italian players that can play, and they, Italian players you play. Because I went over there when they had only one American, one foreigner. So it was tough. So when I got off the flight, in Rome, because I played in Rome, my first city in Viterbo, I was like, one play. I'm the only American here. And at that time, and then nobody speak English. And I'm like,
I know. Shannon Bobby called me one time. one time I was sitting in the office. Shannon had just went overseas. And Shannon Barber, he was playing Tennessee, and she FaceTimed me right on the iPad one day. She go, PT, what you doing? I'm lonely over here, right? I said, Shannon, hold up for a minute. I'll be right back. She said, where you going? I said, I'm going to get a harp. I go, how are you going to be lonely overseas and you just FaceTime me? You got Slingbox. I said, girl, when I was there, we didn't have Slingbox, we didn't have FaceTime, didn't have no internet. Remember to watch an NBA game, you got to wake up at 3:45 in the morning to see an NBA game?
My phone bill was so high. They give me
big thousands.
I was making 5,000. My 1,000 went on the phone bill.
Yeah, that's what I told Shannon. I said, girl, you got about 4 Americans on your team. How you gonna be lonely?
Yeah. You know, Janice had the benefit of being in Vicenza, an American base. They had an American military base. She was getting all the food and everything, you know.
Have friends, bowling alley, and Janice did say she ain't giving nobody no pass to get on that base. There, you weren't there last year. Last week, Janice go, yeah, and I ain't hoping you get on the base either.
The first time you get there, the main thing people think about when you get to Italy is that Italian food, but Italian food different from Italian food here. You know, like they say chicken Alfredo, ain't no such thing.
Yeah, I can tell you this though, Italy, even though Greece was my favorite, Italy, I learned the difference between good pasta and bad pasta because Italy, they definitely got really, really good food, even though my favorite is Thai food, but they definitely got really, really good food. But overseas, that's why I say these players, I mean, I didn't even know Dennis Rodman. This goes to show you in the world without social media. My first player I played with, it was Deborah Rodman. You know, she was better than Dennis. You know, and people never even heard of her. You know, Deborah Rodman and Janice brought her up, and I go when I get there, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm Dennis Rodman's sister." And I'm like, "Man," and I was thankful because, like you said, I was lucky to have another American on the team, and she was definitely a good role model for me because. You know, she helped me a lot when I first got there because my God, when I got there, I go, these people, when you don't speak the language, I used to be like, yabba dabba do. I used to be like, where, you know, here you don't even think about your ears. But when I got it out, I was like, oh my God, make it stop, God, make it stop. You know what I'm saying?
Oh boy. We got to get ready to wrap. But there was a question. There was a couple of different questions. One, I'm with Lukeem.
I want to hit that one.
A fan of UConn. We're going to go back to this question real quick. Why? Why not?
Why not? Say it again.
It says, Lisa, please go back to why you aren't a fan of UConn.
Well, I'm competitive, you know, and I feel that a lot of times, a lot of these college coaches, they get all the players. And teams are stacked, and sometimes they didn't have the opportunity to get certain players because UConn. It's like UConn remind me of Tennessee
back in the day, the dynasty. Yeah.
Well, I think that made every UConn player turn over in their grave, saying, "Remind them of Tennessee when they got more championships than Tennessee."
But you know, just remind me. You know, I've never been a fan. I just think that they get all the players and nobody else get a chance to. They don't get a chance to spread the love like we did, Penny, with everybody back in the day.
Yeah,
you know,
it was definitely
more competitive. I want more teams to be able to be competitive. You know, right away you knew UConn gonna win. They stacked. You know, so other teams didn't never get the opportunity. That's all. Nothing more than that.
And you can, like I say, you can pretty much predict until Dawn just broke the barrier. You can pretty much predict that UConn, Tennessee, Stanford, you know, like all the same teams. That's why I say in women's basketball, there, I think it's kind of getting there a little bit now with Dawn breaking the cycle and some, you know, and I think Adia Bonds at Arizona when she went there, but now it's about doing it consistent to get some other teams, you know, to get in that groove, you know.
Yeah,
this must be this final. We're actually getting ready to wrap because I know we've kept you on here for a while, Lisa. Really appreciate your patience.
That's fine. Thank
also appreciate all of the people on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We see you. We appreciate you. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Also look us up at CertifiedUnscripted.com. This is our final segment. Apparently, it must be the Air the Dirty Laundry segment because the question was, did you have beef with Cheryl Miller, Lisa?
You say calling her decent is crazy.
Penny, hey, they chopping it up now. No, I have no beef with Cheryl Miller. I ain't no beef with Cheryl Miller.
No beef with Cheryl Miller. All right, that's all y'all out there trying to start something.
Was that an honest answer? I don't have no beef against her, but Cheryl know who I am. Sure know
Okay.
about the smoke.
Whoa.
Every time.
This segment brought to you by Michael Jackson. Want to be starting something? Got to be starting something.
Sharon hadn't beat me yet. But she hadn't beat. We beat USC. We beat them in Anchorage, Alaska. She hadn't beat me yet.
Ain't beat you yet. It ain't gonna happen. All right, you heard it here. You heard it right here.
And people forget players from the past, they ain't gonna be up in here like some of these other players. Oh, yeah, they better and this and this and that. This is the front of the world. Back in the day.
Hey, Penny, I'm gonna let them know I'm playing in the senior games right now, the 50 and over. Cheryl, welcome to join out there.
We got a challenge.
New Orleans Slammers. The New Orleans Slammers, that's who I'm playing with. So my teammate Jung Lee.
He's still playing. I love it.
All right.
Lisa, that's awesome.
That's awesome. I might have to meet you out there playing that senior game.
We'll be in Pittsburgh.
That's what's
up. Whoa, okay.
Oh,
all right.
Gosh, man. Somebody's got a videotape. That's worth the trip right there.
Yeah, you're gonna see all of
50. That's worth the trip.
People pay for this. People pay for this matchup.
Yes.
We going,
yes,
bring on. Come on, bring 50 and over. Hey, listen, whoever was at that 50 and over, I need them to come on out and check me out. They still asking Penny. They asking me, Penny, where you from?
Oh, so you still balling then? Okay, you still balling.
I know doing a little balling, yeah. Still balling.
Yo, but thank you, Lisa, so much for
returning
our
calls and
everyone.
So Scoop, thank you.
Oh my God, it's my pleasure, guys. I'm so honored.
Really crazy trying to catch up with
honored.
Much love.
This was great.
Blessings to you, Penny.
Good stuff.
Thank you. We catching up, Penny.
Hey, you too, Lisa, because Lisa, man, it's just like, I mean, Lisa, you definitely were one of the greatest, man. You know, I know a lot of people on here. It's crazy because you know how you say it's about timing and everything like that. But I'm gonna tell you folks out there, I mean, Lisa was one of the greatest, and that's why I wasn't missing this show. I'm not missing Janice because I mean, it's an honor, really. It is. It really, really is an honor, Lisa, because you were legit. In the words of MC Hammer, too legit to quit.
Okay. Absolutely.
I want to thank you guys, and I want to. I just want to thank my mom, and I lost my sister about a year ago, and day after her birthday, my sister Diane, and I just want to thank all my family who have really been there for me from day one. My niece and nephew. I'm just my family. Period, Penny. I'm just grateful. I lost my sister a year ago, and things have been really rough for me. But I'm grateful for all the things that she have, taught me. So I miss my Google, my sister, and of course, my mom who paved the way. 7 kids. I'm the baby, and my brother, Command Sergeant Ingram, he the baby boy, and he have been rid of exploration. He went to West Point, Penny, and he was the one really who led me to go on to do what I did. And I'm so grateful, and I just want to thank you guys to let me tell my story. And I'm really honored. And Penny, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you. You're welcome, girl. You're welcome.
Reaching out, looking for me and finding me. And my heart is real. I'm happy. I'm excited. And Penny, man, I'm so looking forward to seeing you. And
well, if you ever in Cali, I ain't hard to find. Ask anybody. I'm around. And I'm telling you, it's some good stuff coming up. And I know I'll be standing on the show because, I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to find a bigger basketball fan than Johnny Buss. And he got some really cool stuff coming up for the WNBA, even though, he don't own the team anymore. And this is where Vera and, Rita, you guys got to get out here, man, too, because next year it got to be a special year for us. Now this COVID is gone. We got to get the platform. Lisa, we got to get some greats out here with some new people. Hey, we gotta do it, Vera and Rita, really, for real.
For sure.
Be there in 2 weeks. I'm coming.
Yeah, call me. I know you're gonna be right down the road, so call me.
All right.
I'll drive down there, Rita. Vera, I'll drive to you. You ain't got to come up this way.
thank you again. I just feel so bad we still got her on here. I know you got to go. But we just love you. We loved having you on and just telling us, just kind of helping us relive some of these glory days, some of our young talent, some of your own players that are just showing you mad love. It's been really, really good just to hear your story, to get real perspective of how you really think. You didn't fluff it up and, oh yeah, she was, you just told it. Cheryl Miller was good.
Was decent.
Right? I mean,
you crazy. You crazy.
Hey, no, they shut me on there, man. I can't give too much prop with, prop is prop. You can't give everybody prop.
I love it. It was good. It was good. It's all good. And we're gonna do it again next week. Boss, we got anybody coming again next week? Should we be promoting?
Let me think. What's her name? Penny Elena Beard.
Come on now, Elena Beard, one of my faves. Yields are not supposed to have faves, but Elena Beard, we got Tamika Dixon in the queue. And Elena doing some amazing things. I know everybody want to hear about her opportunities and possibly buying the team up in Oakland. I just had dinner with her about a week ago, and it was so awesome just to catch up with, one of my former players, and they all come through here. PT, come here with me. It's cool,
Yeah. It's good.
Man,
that's good. All right, so you heard it. You heard it. So tune in, tell a friend to tell a friend every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. You can find us on Facebook Live as well as YouTube Live. I'm Vera Jones. That's Penny Toller, or PT from DC. And that is the great Lisa Ingram. And that is our executive producer, Rita Haywood, that helps you stay in touch with women's hoops. Because when it does come to women's hoops, we're not new to this. We true to this. Yes. We are certified. Unscripted. Until next week, stay blessed and unstressed.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.